how am I going to become a mum? I think most mums feel this way. I think we fear not being wanted anymore or not being needed. Respect for women. The usual scenario is the father will leave, but then the default expectation is the mum sticks around, desperately wanting that acceptance. I feel like I have spent the last 10 years unwinding from that. Hey, my name's Tanya. I am a single mom and I'm here with the Stanley team to discuss my parenting journey. I'm a mother of a 10-year-old amazing child called Samai. I am co-parenting with his father, and here it is, my discussion with Stanley about our journey.
It took a little bit of time to get here, but here we are.
Here we are.
How are you feeling today?
Pretty good. Yeah, pretty good. Happy to be here. Yeah.
So before we go deeper, can you tell me a little bit about yourself and your background?
Sure. So I was raised half in the UK, half in Malta. My mother is English and my father was Maltese. And my background as a career, I kind of spent my life building towards working in the movie industry as a hair and makeup artist.
Before becoming a mom, how would you describe yourself as a person?
I would say I was a very driven person, very career focused. I was kind of encouraged from a very young age to think about what did I want to do with my life. I come from a creative background. My mother was a professional dancer, so I was kind of born into this show business industry. So it was kind of like a natural progression for me to go in that direction. So I was a driven person, and basically I feel like there has always been that deep yearning inside me to be a mum from as long as I could remember. And I don't know if that is just by nature or societal pressure, maybe a little bit of both. And I remember very distinctively, I came out of a long relationship and I was 30 years old. And I thought to myself, how am I going to become a mum? You know, I have to start again. I have to meet somebody, and that's going to take time. And so how is this going to happen for me? It was a very strange push and pull inside me of, you know, how am I going to continue with this career that I've spent my life working towards, and I just got to where I wanted to be, but how am I also going to become a mum? So, yeah.
Now, after having children, do you feel like you still have the same interest, or has motherhood changed the things you care about?
Being a mum was my priority. Being present as a mother was really important for me. So I kind of sort of carved out this like new career for myself in a completely different directions to the film industry and what I've done in the past.
Do you remember what you felt when you became a mom for the very first time?
Yeah, I I really remember this strange feeling of holding this like tiny baby and like feeling this like immense, like overwhelming feeling of responsibility. I remember thinking, Jesus Christ, like if I drop this child, like his life is completely in my hands. And I feel like it's something that I could never have fully prepared myself for. And it was a pretty crazy feeling.
What was the one thing that surprised you the most after having your first child?
What surprised me and sadly kind of disappointed me is this feeling of complete aloneness. I don't know if this is just specific to my journey, but I do think it's a lot of parents now, is we no longer raise our children as a village. And I think especially because I exist here as an expat and away from my family, I think I expected motherhood to be this kind of collective celebration, where, your child would grow up with aunties and uncles and cousins as I did. Instead, it's been such a bizarre journey of literally just my son with his mom and dad. So yeah, a hell of a lot more isolating than I could have ever imagined.
Do you think that experience changed you or changed the way you see life and the world around you?
It has a lot. And sometimes it feels like it's for the worse, and sometimes it feels like it's better. And I think pros and cons to everything. I maybe just have a very realistic view on the world. I think that now, yeah, it's like I have this like bird's eye view on like what's happening in the world. It's like I can see things on a bigger scale, and I've started to understand better this kind of like social construct that we're living in and how it's not really designed for our well-being. And that's become so much more apparent since I have a child, because suddenly you question everything around you. What is this world that I've brought this child into? And how can I make it safe? How can I, raise him, with the utmost well-being? Then it sort of became clear for me that it's like, oh wow, I kind of have to create that myself a little bit. So it's been a hell of a lot more work than I've ever imagined.
Can you tell me a little bit about your children? How many you have and what are they like?
So I have one son. His name is Samai, and he's going to be 10 years old in July. He's a really awesome kid. He is a lot like me in some ways. In some ways, he's completely different. And that is challenging because you're like, okay, like this is not how I was when I was young. So I have to adapt, to how he is. He's a highly sensitive boy, which is beautiful because he feels everything very deeply. So for example, when we walk into a room, he can feel into I guess the energy or the vibe, and that can send him one way or another. He could either feel really confident and happy and grounded, or he can feel completely introverted and do that thing where they hide behind their mother's legs. So yeah, it's an interesting journey raising such a sensitive child. Yeah. Earlier on, when I started to realize that he's not this confident, child that like say I was. Early on, I used to kind of feel like I battled it a little bit, but I did it with the idea to encourage. I would try to get him to be more confident, and in a way I was kind of going against it. And as we grow, I have learned that what he actually needs is to feel accepted as he is. And I think parents always have that thing where, some parents will say to their child, say hi or say please, say thank you. And I've learned not to do that. I've learned to just let him be who he wants to be. And that in hand has been some like lessons for me in authenticity and just being yourself.
When it comes to raising children, do you think it is better to always encourage them positively or to be honest with them even when the truth may feel a little bit harsh?
So I think that everything has to have balance. So I think a certain amount of encouragement is necessary, and then acceptance is also necessary. As an example, it's like you're doing well, and you're a great person, and it's okay to show people that. But I also let him know that it's okay for him to take his own time. Actually, it's true when they say your children are your teachers, but I feel that you really, as an adult, you really have to kind of get on their level and allow that to happen. I just think that as a parent, we tend to think that we should have this like hierarchy over our children, this like natural control. But I've learned, again, balance. I've learned to allow him to be my teacher sometimes, and I do learn from that too. I learn that, you know, when I walk into a room, I don't always have to please everybody around me. You know, it's okay for me to feel shy sometimes. So many lessons in authenticity and just being yourself.
Let's talk about an ordinary day between you and your son. Which part of the day that feels the most special to you?
I think our bedtime routine is so special, and I look forward to that. We've always had this routine where he would have a bath, and then we read together, and then he goes to sleep. And I yeah, I feel like it's created this kind of like something for him to look forward to. So I've never really experienced like him fighting bedtime, because I think he likes it. I think he looks forward to like the book that we're reading in that time. So yeah, I feel like it's just a time where I put my phone down, you know, where the day's passed and we're not busy, he's not at school, I'm not doing what I need to do, and we're just both sort of coming together and relaxing, and we get into various different books, Harry Potter, or we're reading Narnia at the moment. And yeah, we sit together, we have a read, and it's just a beautiful little bonding moment. Yeah.
I heard you mention reading to him, which is really interesting because these days many kids spend more time on screens than with books. What do you think
Yeah.
about that, and how do you manage it with your child?
Oh, yes. This is probably one of the key subjects that most parents talk about with each other, because we can't ignore the technology era that we're living in. So it's like we have to honor it. But a lot of us also understand it's not that healthy. So again, I think this is just where balance comes in. And I'll be honest, it's taking us as parents, years to perfect this. So the way we do it is we have a screen time allowance, which has changed over the years. It's gone from an hour a day. Currently, he's allowed 2 days a week where he has 3 hours on each of those days. He has an iPad, and we're very particular about the content of what it is that he's doing. So he will want to play a game, but you know, I'm very skeptical and also hyper aware of what's out there. So yeah, I'm choosy about what I allow him to play. So yeah, I kind of allow him that time. Actually, this schedule that we're in right now, where he's doing 2 days a week, 3 hours each day, it's working actually much better. I feel like on the other days, he just switches off from it because he just knows it's not really an option. And so he just comes home from school and he just does other things. Whereas when we were doing an hour a day, it was a bit like kind of like feeding breadcrumbs. It was like there you go. Okay, now we're taking it away. And to be really honest, what I observed was almost like how you see drug addicts when you take drugs away and they go through withdrawals. It was like a kind of like a, no, I don't want to forget about it. I want it back. And there was lots of arguments. So yeah, in general, this subject of screen and technology, it's an ongoing progress. And it's definitely been a tricky one.
What is one special moment, habit, or activity that only you and your son truly understand?
Well, we're pretty active, so we do lots of activities together, and I feel like we do make more of an effort to create activities kind of to compensate for the screen. So it's like, yeah. Honestly, the special moments are the unplanned ones. I can't say it's when we're skating, or it's when we're climbing, or when we're doing this, or when we're doing that. They're the silly moments where we have together. Just a little example, it's like last night we went to the movie theater together. We saw the new Michael Jackson movie and we loved it. and we came home, and when we were like going up to our condo in the elevator, we were both attempting Michael Jackson dancing and singing. So it's just these like sweet unplanned moments where we just feel inspired, and I can get out of my head and get into child mode and on his level that are be magical.
What is something you do every day for your son that he may not notice yet because he's still too young to understand?
Oh, okay. So I mean, I'm not gonna say there's all the behind the scenes stuff, the chores and all that. To be honest, those are things that I do try to involve him in a bit. I think the bigger stuff in my position, because I myself and his father are separated and we co-parent together, that takes for an immense amount of organizing. A lot of juggling things around, schedules. Can you pick him up that day? Can you make this? I don't have enough clothes at my house. We need this. I need his skates today. And these are all behind the scenes stuff that we do together as a separated couple. It is challenging, because when you've decided to separate in a relationship, but then in a way you are forced to continue it for the sake of your child, it's definitely a big challenge. And this is something that, again, balance. I don't want to bring my son into this world because it's kind of can be difficult, and can be emotional. I find my moments of, opening up to him about, today I'm just having a difficult day, Yeah, I think without a doubt, this is the biggest behind the scenes challenges that he doesn't really know about in his world. And I want to keep it that way because I believe children deserve a childhood which to some extent needs to be worry-free, you know? So it's like finding that balance of allowing them that, but also being realistic and giving them indications of like how life works, and it's not all butterflies and rainbows.
If there is one lesson you hope your children carry with them as they grow up, what would that lesson be?
This is a big one. I think as somebody who grew up with a single parent, a single mother who didn't really have a father figure around, I feel like it's been kind of my life journey to stand for mothers. I feel that mothers, separated and not separated, have a pretty hard time. I don't feel we get half of the acknowledgement we deserve, especially when parents separate. I feel like there's a default expectation. The usual scenario is the father will leave or is less present, but then the default expectation is the mum sticks around, the mum does the duty, does everything, sort of holds the ground for raising the children. Yeah, it's an interesting journey for me in my parenting world as opposed to growing up where I didn't have a present father, in that I did choose a father who has stuck around. Not only stuck around, he's an amazing dedicated father and his son is his priority. And whilst I offer recognition for that, I think that it's kind of like, I almost feel it's like my calling, like why I'm put here on earth is to also find like this like respect and recognition for mothers. And yeah, I feel like I hold a big responsibility. I'm raising, this future generation, and he's a boy. So I want him to grow up with this respect for women. I want to see change. I no longer want to feel we exist in this like world of inequality. I think it's about time things became a bit more equal and women, mothers gained the recognition that they deserve. So yes, to answer your question, I think if there's one thing that I really want him to grow up with, it's that recognition, that respect, that kind of like a women are here, mothers are here, you know? Yeah.
What is one valuable life lesson you feel you have already taught your son?
I think the big one, which I love to see, like that it's like, wow, this worked. Since he was very little, I kind of like, and I don't know, I think it just came naturally that I kind of like offered him this self-trust in himself. So how can I describe that? Let's take when you're sick, for example. I would say to him, you know, well, you know, what do you feel? What do you think is going on in your body? So I guess in a way I'm trying to say, I think that I have guided him to be body conscious. And it's so amazing to see, because we're talking about sickness, he will often say, oh yeah, I think that this is coming from that. And I think I need to do that. And actually, I think I only need to eat fruit, or I only need this. And I kind of like offer him this trust rather than kind of overriding him as a lot of parents want to, and you know, pushing him to do something else. And it's amazing. It's again, they are our ultimate mirrors, children. So it's taught me that I can do that too. You know, I can be more body conscious, and actually I can trust myself to understand what's going on with me, because I do think we have been raised to put our trust into someone else. It's like we get sick and immediately we go to the doctor. We're like, hey, what's wrong? But most of the time we probably know, you know, we probably know how to fix it ourselves. So yeah, that's something I feel really proud of. And yeah.
When a child depends heavily on their parents for everything, do you think that affects the way they grow up?
Definitely. I mean, that's how I was raised. And not because my mum had any kind of bad intention. I just think that that's what parents knew how to do. And I know that as a parent, I feel that pressure that you're supposed to have the right answers and you're supposed to have all the answers. But as we've taken this more holistic approach to life, I started to learn it's really okay, and it's actually really beneficial, I think, to say, I don't know, or what do you think? I know that having been raised like that myself, it was a bit, the feeling I had was, it was like when I was given, you know, independence, I felt really overwhelmed. You know, like I would call my mum to ask her opinions about things because I didn't quite understand how I felt about things, because I was never given that opportunity or that encouragement. So yeah, this is such a huge part of our life, in that we, again, coming back to the trust, we trust, you know, what he feels. Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about your memories with your son. Was there ever a moment when you looked at him and thought, he's growing up so fast?
It's such a cliche thing, isn't it? I hear it all the time, like, oh, haven't they grown up fast? I was like, is that just a thing we're supposed to say? I don't feel that. Like, maybe it's because I've honestly, and I think it's a privilege, but it shouldn't be. I feel it should be the norm. I've been so present in his life. Like, it is a privilege. I haven't had this like 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. job. Like, I've had the privilege of being around in his life. So I really feel I've been present for it all. For me, I feel I'm enjoying him as he's getting older. I know some mums love the baby phase. I felt that was quite daunting for me. It was like way too much responsibility. And I'm really enjoying this age, almost 10, where we can communicate and we kind of like explore together. Yeah.
Are there any moments or feelings between you and your son now that you know will change in the future and you already feel you will miss them?
Yeah, I think in general, I think most mums feel this way. I think we fear not being wanted anymore or not being needed. And for me, I don't know, I think that because I've raised a son who has been so sensitive and has needed me, I feel like more than the average child. Um, there is such a sense of attachment with him. I'm almost kind of welcoming his independence. Will I feel that way the day he wants to leave home? I don't know. I don't know. Um, he's 10 years old and we still sleep together. We still co-sleep. And I've been encouraging for a long time for him to move into his own bedroom. And I'd say 90% of me wants that for him because I think it's healthy and I think he'll feel more grown up. I think it will help with this like attachment thing. But there's like a small percentage of me that's like, oh, but I'm gonna miss snuggling up to him at night. Yeah. So that's what I'll miss.
You said you like reading books to him, so imagine there was a book about your memories with your son. If he opened it 20 years from now, what moments would you want him to see?
I make such a big effort, and I do it because I also enjoy it. When I'm reading to him, I really like to create all the voices of the characters. So yeah, it's let me tell you, it's tricky. I'll do the girl's voice and the boy's voice and the monster voice or whatever. And yeah, I hope he doesn't take that for granted. I hope, as you say, I hope that he'll open that book one day. Let's just take one of the, but let's just say Harry Potter. There's so many voices in that one, so much dialogue. Yeah, I hope he'll remember the effort that went into it and, you know, how much fun I tried to make it. And yeah, yeah, I hope that that's a memory that will be preserved.
What is one thing you want to tell him now, but he's still too young to understand?
I can see that at his age, he's entering that time that probably we can all relate to, where you become self-conscious and you go to school hoping that you're going to, not be the nerd and not be the one that gets bullied. And yeah, I remember that feeling of desperately wanting that acceptance, wanting to fit in. I try to get this across to him now, but he doesn't quite understand it. So yes, in 20 years, I wish that I could say to him, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, be you and you'll find your people. It's like, I wish I could just take away that burden of that, oh, I've got to be the cool guy to fit in, I've got to be this, I've got to be that. Or maybe it's just a part of life we all have to go through. But as a parent, it's quite hard to watch. Yeah. And I think it's the nature of what I was born into. Like I say, my mum was a professional dancer. I was born into this industry of performance. I feel like I have spent the last 10 years unwinding from that, or unlearning, let's say, taking off the mask. It's like learning to not perform for other people, to not exist to people please, and to be my authentic self and feel okay with that. Um, yes, I hope that that's something I can pass to him.
In your opinion, what is the most important thing a mother should pay attention to?
The most important things we should be paying attention to, honestly, ourselves. I remember like posing this question to myself when he was born. I was like, how can I be the best mom I can possibly be? Like, well, you start thinking outwardly, like, what can I do for him? What do I need to create? But actually it's pretty simple, but not. It's it's just you have to fill your own cup. Like I've learned that. Like I have to be the best person I can be because essentially I'm here as his guide, as his role model. No pressure, mothers. But it's like, yeah, we just have to be the best we can be, which which also I've learned doesn't always mean having a smile on our face and being like, I'm good. It sometimes means, crying and it's just letting them into who you are and your world and being as open-hearted as I possibly could be in the most authentic way I could be.
For the last question, you mentioned being separated and co-parenting. If you had one message for parents going through the same situation, what would you want to tell them?
Yeah, it's really, I feel like it's to offer encouragement. We're so highly critical of each other. And I often have to ask people, I will say, do you know what? A lot of the time that, especially if I come to friends or people around me with difficulties, I'm rarely looking for solutions. I'm actually really just looking for encouragement or acceptance, or as I call it, cheerleaders. Um, so because I know that, I want to offer that for other people. It's like be a cheerleader for each other. You know, we have enough pressure going on around us. It's already a difficult enough job, so let's support each other and yeah, give each other a pat on the back. Yeah,
All right, thank you for sharing such honest and beautiful answers about your life, motherhood, and your experience as a parent.
it's my pleasure.
This was a wonderful interview.
Oh, thank you.